Coming up, the Gulf Coast of Florida braces for the possibility of a major hurricane.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Florida residents stocked up on sandbags and evacuated from homes in low-lying areas along the Gulf Coast as Tropical Storm Idalia intensified. CBS's Larry Seward has the latest from the Tampa Bay area in Holiday, Florida.
On Florida's west coast, residents bracing for Idalia are gassing up and loading their cars with sandbags and other essentials.
We're prepping and hoping for the best.
I pulled everything out from my hurricane kit with my lights, all my extra batteries, stuff for my kid. I got some non-perishable food items, lots of water.
Definitely gonna put the panels up, cover up all the windows, probably have a bunch of people over because I have the generator.
Ahead of the storm's expected arrival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency in counties spanning the northern half of the state, from here along the Gulf to the Atlantic coast.
It will become a hurricane very shortly. The storm is then forecast to make landfall along Florida's Big Bend Wednesday morning as a major hurricane.
As satellite images tracked Idalia's path toward Florida, evacuation orders were issued in vulnerable, low-lying areas, and officials say more may be coming.
If you're in those low-lying areas, the reason why they're advising you to evacuate is because you're going to be susceptible to storm surge.
Ahead of Idalia's expected landfall, the Coast Guard prepared search and rescue helicopters, while more than 1,000 National Guard members have already been mobilized. Larry Seward, CBS News, Holiday, Florida.
And as of today, or as of Tuesday, Tampa International Airport will remain closed until after the storm.
We do have the latest update from the National Hurricane Center on Tropical Storm Idalia. This just dropped, so this is hot off the presses. You can still see a tropical storm, those winds of 70 miles per hour, very close to the western tip of Cuba, moving off to the north at 8 miles per hour. But the forecast still shows the possibility of a major hurricane hitting the Big Bend area of Florida by the middle of the week. And the Gulf of Mexico is very warm, also very favorable for some rapid intensification. So we are going to watch out for that very closely. By Tuesday, also into Wednesday, we have tropical storm and hurricane warnings from Apalachicola all the way down to Tampa Bay. And again, we are watching out for the Big Bend area of Florida. This area is very susceptible to storm surge because of that backward C shape, and that can really accumulate that water as it pushes ashore there. But the good news after that, it is expected to move back out to sea and not affect other states as it pushes off the southeastern coast. Closer to home, we are watching out for a few spotty showers tonight. Most of us are dry, though, under that cloudy sky, and that will continue as we go into tonight. A small chance of a few spotty showers. Those overnight lows falling into the middle and upper 60s, and more rain chances on Tuesday. Not going to be a washout, but more showers are possible, and those temperatures stay below average thanks to clouds, also showers. Highs back in the upper 70s and lower 80s, but some good news if you're a fan of the fall-like weather. Some fall-like weather is on the way for Wednesday and Thursday before more summer heat by the Labor Day weekend. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Well, several agencies are already preparing to send down crews to help with hurricane relief efforts in Florida this week. That includes the Red Cross in Kentucky. But while they are planning for that, Jeremy Tom shows us how they are continuing their efforts in Maui.
Nearly 3 weeks have passed since Maui fell victim to one of the deadliest wildfires in American history. With months or even years of recovery ahead, Steve Cunanan says the Red Cross remains hard at work.
Right now, we have 2,000 homes that are either have been totally destroyed or have major damage and are unlivable.
He says the group of Kentuckians with the agency in Lahaina has more than doubled since we spoke to them on August 17th.
And they've been deployed multiple times. One person has been deployed about 40 times to disasters.
And he's heard from them about what they're experiencing.
When you are in other situations, a tornado, a hurricane, you see things that you recognize. You see parts of structures. There's just nothing there anymore.
Cunanan says these Red Cross workers are bringing supplies, planning temporary shelters, offering monetary support, and more. He's seen disasters in this very state where the recovery has taken years.
Both the flooding in eastern Kentucky and the tornadoes in western Kentucky.
And he says they intend to be there alongside the victims through those years.
We still have a team on the ground right now that's working in long-term recovery. So they are working with organizations to provide housing, weather radios, and storm shelters. So the same kind of a situation, I think, will play out in Hawaii.
In Lexington, Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Cunanan says they are pre-positioning shelters and food supplies while also preparing teams of people to respond to Idalia. Kentucky Transportation Secretary Jim Gray also signed an order today. It will temporarily suspend certain restrictions on commercial vehicles involved in relief efforts in Florida and other states with storm damage. School systems are working on building their own police force after recent state legislation, and Harlan County Schools is part of that process. The school system now has 6 officers, 1 assigned to each school in the county. Superintendent Brent Roark says they are working to keep kids safe.
Security, it's on everybody's mind all the time. If you look at all of our priorities, things we want to do, educating children, providing opportunities, security's first and foremost. It has to be. Our kids have to feel safe and the parents have to feel safe sending them.
The school system also works with the Harlan County Sheriff's Department whenever the need exists. Today, Perry County Schools kicked off the school year with faculty, staff, and students returning to the classrooms. And for the second year, Robinson Elementary and Buckhorn students went back to the old A.B. Combs building in Hazard. Both principals say they are looking forward to another year, and they are thrilled to see the students back on campus.
Just looking forward to having a great year, a little bit of stability, you know, and provide that for our kids and community. That means more to me, being able to offer that and a high quality education than anything to our kids.
We want our students to learn the most, to the most of their ability, but we want to love them too. We want to know that we love them first and we're going to teach them second.
Nearly all schools in our region are now back in session. Williamsburg Independent goes back on Wednesday, August 30th. Another Perry County school is embracing some change. Back in the spring, the school board voted to consolidate Leatherwood Elementary into Viper Elementary due to decreasing enrollment. WYMT's RJ Johnson spoke with school leaders on how they have managed this transition.
It's the first day back since Leatherwood Elementary School was voted to consolidate into Viper Elementary School, but staff have been here throughout the summer getting ready for this day.
It's a big thing, you know, when anyone has to switch a school, but when an entire, you know, staff and students have to switch, I know that was going to be greater, and but we're going to make it the best that we possibly can.
Principal Melissa Ritchie says it takes a lot to bring everyone together, but she knows it will all work out.
It's just been wonderful. I feel like we've really meshed well together, and it's obvious that we're all in it for the kids. We're here for the kids, and just here to make the transition as easy as possible.
With several teachers coming from Leatherwood, transition coordinator Anita Shepard says it makes the switch easier for students.
In my role as the transition coordinator, I've been in contact with several Leatherwood parents, and we've had our back to school bash here at Viper, so they were able to come in, view the school, see the classrooms, meet the teachers. A lot of our teachers are teachers from Leatherwood, so they already knew those.
She says students being around new kids will have a positive impact for them.
Already knowing a few people here, and it made it easier, and they're excited. I feel as though our Leatherwood students are excited to come here because they're going to meet new children and have a bigger classroom with more kids to be involved with and to learn with.
Shepard says this transition has been smoother than what they thought, but she says they will continue to support parents and students during this process. In Perry County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
The first day of school can be a nervous time for students, staff, and parents, but Shepard says she's excited to bring more people into the hornet's nest. Some Eastern Kentucky school districts welcomed back students today after a brief illness break. Magoffin and Lee County schools, along with Jenkins Independent, canceled classes last week, or at least part of the week, because of illnesses. We checked back in with Lee County schools today. They say they had a 90% attendance rate today, and that's up from last week. with only 82 students not in school today, and that's out of about 900 students. Most of the staff is also back. A man is accused of working with a store employee to steal from the business, then make it look like someone had actually broken in. It happened at the Barberville convenience store in Artemis. Police say employee Janie Bingham closed the store Sunday night, but intentionally left William McDonald inside. McDonald then took several items and nearly $700 in cash, according to police. They say he then unlocked the door, left the store, locked the door back, and used a hatchet to break glass, making it look like the store was broken into. Both McDonald and Bingham were arrested and charged with theft by unlawful taking or disposition and second-degree criminal mischief. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, construction workers in Whitley County are working on several road repair projects.
Plus, we are tracking rain chances for tomorrow, but more drier air is on the way. Those details on the way after this break.